Hello, hello. Is there any audio? Whoops, I think I was on mute. Sorry about that, everyone. Basically, I'm just going through all the full arts to start with here. I'll just make it real quick since I kind of talked about it, but from a collector's standpoint, yeah, there's a lot of really cool new full arts this set. A lot of original artwork, which is great that we've been seeing a lot more of this in recent sets. The Cyan looks really great. It's an FF6 character. Just visually, it looks pretty stunning, and he looks really cool. Hopefully he's a good card. Just looking on the surface for drop 7, I hope the effect is good, but I'll go into that later. Here, there's a lot of text, but Cyan's always been a strong card in the game, so it'll definitely be one of the more popular cards to collect for sure. This Deadly Nightshade, I don't know what this kind of art is, but it's really cartoony. Someone thought it was a good idea to give a tomato a full art, so yeah, hope it's more power to them. The Clive is the dominant feature card of the set. He's super cool, visually stunning. The full art with the foils, cool signatures. So I mentioned briefly before, but the FF7 ones, they kind of went up and down in price. So I think this one's being one of the newer games. Hopefully it'll have a high baseline, maybe 600-700 if I had to guess. If you pull one of these. So this is definitely going to be the chase card of the set. I don't know much about Neon, but there's been a lot of Strangers of Paradise support. There wasn't a lot of waifus revealed, so maybe she's like the waifu of the set. So, but the art looks cool. I was more excited about this Bahamut and Echoes. Let me see if I can adjust that. Yeah, the Bahamut is definitely one of my favorite cards, just being a 10 fan. I know 7 and 10 are probably the more well-known series, and this being an original art, I've never seen this anywhere. So shout out to this artist. Oh man, I can't even say it. Kajimoto. Yeah, this looks super cool. Like, I'm sure anyone who pulls this is going to be super stoked. Hope to find one of these myself. And Bahamuts have always been really strong and really cool. And being the FF10, you got the extra, almost like peacock ornament background. So yeah, this is a super sick card. Joseph, I thought was pretty cool. I've never played FF2, but Monks and Rebels have been sort of a thing. I think Furion's like the most well-known of those characters, and just seeing this, like, this is definitely not what I imagined those pixel art games to look like. So this is super cool with like the water splash background. I'm not really going to go into the effects right now, but just visually speaking, I prefer that there's no extra text. So this is pretty nice, and I'd be pretty stoked if I pulled one of these. The Maru is amazing, like I was saying. Probably one of my favorite looking cards. It's like a Snow Yeti, King Kong gorilla in the snow and a blizzard. Like, that just looks super sick. And the Genesis here is super cool. Like, at first I thought he was wearing a cap or something, like a hat, but okay, it's like the one-wing angel sort of thing. Like, I don't know the whole background story of Genesis. It might be one of those side games. But yeah, I think a lot of people are super psyched for this card. It's got some super strong text that was revealed, and yeah, I'm sure people are going to be looking for this and trying to play with it. I know Ice is a crowd pleaser. A lot of people like mess around with those. Yeah, Genesis definitely looks super sick. And there's a lot of 7 fans, so I don't I didn't see a whole lot of 7 in this set, so might be the card of the set for FF7 fans. This is a Lara, the Death Seraph. Ooh, this is a strange looking card here. It kind of looks like some kind of Dia de los Muertos sort of. I don't know the background behind it, but yeah, it's cool, I guess. Not a card I know or the name recognize, but it's nice illustration. A little bit more cartoony than these other ones, I guess. But it works. Nice coloring, I guess I could say. Okay, here. Like I said, more Strange in Paradise. I don't know who she is, but she kind of gives me some kind of Laura Croft vibes, sort of like dark, mischievous girl. I guess she's a waifu or something. But yeah, Stranger Paradise fans or people trying to like build those decks. There's been a lot of really cool full art, so hopefully it fits in with that whole theme. There's always been these Moogle no-nos every set, and they're kind of funny. This one's super cute. It looks like he's wearing pajamas, and I don't know if he's good or not, but if he's playable, it would be pretty funny to slap one of these down onto the field and have your opponents be kind of confused. But some of them have been somewhat decent, so it's a full art. Cartoon Rabbit. It's the Final Fantasy Bugs Bunny, I suppose. Belgiumine. This was a surprising card. It seems like every set we get like 1 to 3 different Yunas. So it was kind of nice to see a different summoner for a change. Ryoma, yeah, the Ryoma, this one. It is definitely interesting. And I'm sure there's a lot more, but it's definitely very cutesy. But the Belgiumine, I wasn't sure what to make of this one, because I don't recall her being a very big character. I just remember in the game you kind of fight her every now and then to train your Aeons, and then she gives you some kind of new ability here and there. But as far as being integral part of the story, I guess I don't know. But it was cool that they made her a legend. So she's got some pretty strong sounding text, but visually, like, this is very green. If you're into green cards, playing Wind, this is a very green card. She blends right into her plant background. She got the whole like Princess Leia hairdo going on, but the art looks really nice. Like, I mean, nothing to complain about. It's a good card. I think a lot of people are going to be after her. Maybe a little disappointed that there's no Yuna. But Belgiumine, hey, it's a nice addition. We haven't seen this character yet, so I'll probably be looking out for that. Again, it's an FF10 character. Moving along, we got the Ash. Ash looks pretty cool. I'm not sure if there's been another one. I feel like I've seen the Ash before, but dude is buff as heck, and yeah, he's I'm sure going to be part of the whole Stranger Paradise theme with the Jack Garlands and stuff. So, like, there's been a lot of cool looking sop of cards. Yeah, we've seen. You can kind of tell, just like they seem to have this distinct art to them that you just kind of know it's this Strangers of Paradise looking type art. It's kind of like a darker theme, a lot more shadows, but also a lot more realistic and less cartoony, I guess, as you can see with this cactite here, which I mean, it's I know there's been a lot of cactuars in previous sets, so yeah, this is, I guess, in that respect, it's kind of like a cactuar looking guy. It's cute, very cutesy, and there's not a whole lot of extra stuff going on, so it's very straightforward, very yellow. Very much as this was a very green card, I would say this is equally as yellow. So if you're a fan of Earth or these kind of cartoonish arts, hey, they'll look really nice together. And this Bosch, oh my gosh, this is wow. Like, I know there's been that Earth Fire Bosch previously, but this is really, really cool looking. Like, I don't know if it's like a watercolor or something. Like, this could be like a portrait type art. And yeah, FF12 definitely seeing a lot of cool looking cards and characters. Um, Again, I don't really know if it's a good card or not, but the artwork, like, it's super cool. Looks like he's up in the sky here, and he's got a big ass sword, and looks like he's ready to kick some ass. And it's a pretty cool looking card. Yeah, definitely looking for one of those. Down here, there was a lot of hype around this card this morning when initially seen. I know there's got some cute text, but just visually, it kind of reminds me like of a deck of cards or something. Like I'm playing with like the Joker. It's FFCC. I'm not sure if there's like a theme there, but yeah, it definitely looks like he's someone who'd be on um, like someone you'd see Jack or Queen or King, definitely a royal card. So it looks pretty cool. Wonder if they'll make other ones like this, with this being a Jack or a Joker, maybe a Queen or King. Yeah, that'd be pretty sick. Yeah, I definitely agree that they're pretty gorgeous. And I see in the comments, Belgium was the Aeon Power level gatekeeper. So it's neat that they made her a summon heavy. Yeah, yeah. The effect, it's pretty wild for Belgiumines. How she can get rid of multiple forwards just by casting a few summons on either player's turn. That seems pretty wild. But man, like this art here, we saw with the summons, this is just some of the most gorgeous artwork I would say I've seen in all the Opus sets, 1 through 24. Like, this is amazing, like visually fantasy type artwork. Um, this is just so cool. I hope I can find at least one of these. And if Fenrir is a popular character, I'm guessing that's Yaiko. I'm probably saying it wrong, but she is. Yeah, this is like a full moon and something that reminds me almost something like a Lisa Frank back in the day with those stickers, like those. It's a pretty sick card. I'll definitely have more comments about it later, but just visually, man, if I can get a playset of these, oh yeah. Same with this one here, Baligarmonda, and it's a FF6 summon or character from FF6. It looks pretty cool. I don't know if it's like a dragon or a bird, but it looks like it's coming out of this like egg or ice, like, and it's just like shattering everything with its wings and looks super vicious and very sick. Man, kind of makes me almost wish I had played the game or knew more about the history. So I'll definitely want to check this out more if it happens to be great. But these together look really nice. Going down here, there's this new Jack Garland. This one definitely piqued a lot of people's interest here. And it's another one of these Ruby Asami cards. She's one of the well-known artists at Square Enix. I think they did like a day in the life with her. So if you want to check that out, that was a pretty interesting video, and how she goes to work as an artist for Square Enix doing artworks like this and games, other games. But Jack Garland, he's definitely a really popular character. And it's definitely with the monotone black and white, it looks pretty cool. It's not my favorite type of artwork, but you can tell like the artist definitely put a lot of time and effort into the shading and to make the detail look pretty vicious. And it's got this like light and dark thing going on. I don't know his story, but I'm sure there's more to it than meets the eye. And it's a pretty cool looking card for something that's in the grayscale, black and white, which you don't see too much with FF TCG. Chime here. Oh, this is the queen. So maybe there is this whole set. Like I said, I haven't really looked through all these. So it looks like here's the Jack. And now Chime here is the queen. Yeah, I know she was she was in like Ice Water in the past, and she also had a similar type artwork where it was a lot going on, looked like a playing card. Maybe there's some kind of motif there or a theme there that I'm not too aware of. Yeah, Ruby Asami, definitely. Speaking of her, this is, I think, one of my favorites that's by her from this set. This Noelle, like, whoa, it is so sick. It's like, I don't know if that's like his partner or his shadow in the background. I loved like the two-toned color theme here where you've got like Noelle in the foreground with like, you know, his anime looking like pose, and looks like he's, you know, really concentrating, and maybe like that's like his memory or his, I don't know, probably something related to the story in his character arc. And I think it's just visually super cool when they do stuff like this. And you've got both the color and the monochrome or the grayscale background. I love that the text is so simple. Haste cannot be blocked. And it just leaves so much more room for the artwork that you can appreciate. I see this 3,000 here for a 4-drop. That's probably going to annoy me, but just from the artwork, like, I'm going to want one of these. Just, it looks cool. Gao is, yeah, definitely one of the most iconic characters. This wild child kind of guy. It looks so much different than any of the other ones I've seen. And the fact that it's a backup, you get a lot more of the background and the colors, and it's pretty cool. Like, I feel like a lot of the Gaos that we've seen in the past, they've been kind of like maybe half a portrait, whereas this you get the full picture, and it's really cool to see like a whole forest type environment. And even though it's a water card, it's a very green looking card, so hopefully there's some good synergy there. I know it's historically been a water card, so it's not too surprising, but glad that they finally got a backup that's in water for FF6. So this is definitely going to be a very, very popular card for a lot of the 6 fans out there, and maybe semi-playable, who knows. Kimari, FF10. Yeah, like I said, like, we don't have a lot of Yunas this set. I feel like they've been made a point to highlight some of the lesser known characters this set, and Kimari's by far one of the lesser known Guardians. Oh, Yuel in that background. She's his friend from his hometown. Wow, okay, that makes more sense, and that makes it even better. Like, yeah, I just love how they incorporate those types of details into the artwork. It just makes it so much better. I'm not sure if there's anything extra going on here. Like, it looks like there is a moon or some kind of orb, or maybe that's like his power-up move from his horn attack. I forgot what he does. I know he like copies abilities, but like this kind of reminds me of the Jack Garland. I guess it's maybe the same artist. Yeah. So you got the whole black and white monochrome motif, very well detailed. If you like that type of art, awesome. And FF10, I feel like they've been printing like 1 or 2 full arts every set. So yeah, this is definitely a cool one that we haven't seen yet. Jed, you can definitely tell, once again, this is a Strange in Paradise. It's got the whole kind of dark, brooding type character, more realistic, look human-ish, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if he's good or not, but it'll look nice in the page together with all the other cards in this set and previous sets. I thought we had a Joker already, but Stiltskin, maybe do we have 2 Jacks? So this looks like a Jack. It's really cool that they have these casino-looking type cards. I wonder if there's a king, or maybe you got a scroll. So yeah, this multiple Jacks. So maybe there's some kind of story behind them. Stiltskin has usually been a wind card, and that's what I thought it was when I saw all this green initially here. But I guess it's a water card. Don't know if it's good, but usually it's been a backup. But it definitely looks pretty cool as far as all the cartoons go. I think it'll be really cool to line these up side by side if you can get the whole collection together. Strago, this one is, whoa, like, I'm not sure what's going on here. It's like, I'm not sure if he's falling down or if he's like casting a spell on you. It's definitely different than the other Stragos we've seen. And it's a water one. I guess that's pretty typical. It's a lot going on here. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be, but it's an FF6 character, so that's always a crowd pleaser. Here we have Mog 6. Oh, wow, this is pretty cool. So I gotta say, they put a lot of work into these Moogles recently, and yeah, this one's pretty cool looking. I feel like some of the past Mog 6s, they barely tried at all. And this one, it is really well illustrated. Like, oh man, there's each one, you can see like the shading and the detailed coloring, and I like it a lot. I don't know if it's playable, but it looks really cool. 2-drop water. I'm a fan of water cards, so I'll probably be looking for one of these. And it just looks really cool for a Mog 6. Yeah. Oh boy, this might be my favorite favorites of the set. This Leviathan. Oh my gosh, when they revealed that one, man, this is so awesome, cool looking. It's just, it looks like this water dragon that's like, oh man, I don't even know how to describe it. Serpent that's it just looks way better than any other of the Leviathans I've seen, and I hope it is a good card. And you've got like the summoner here. I don't know if that's supposed to be Garnet, but if so, that it's pretty cool. And yeah, this might be my favorite looking art. You can see the ocean, the waves. Yeah, this is a sick card. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna look for a playset of these. This might be my top priority here for this set. Realm. Yeah, I know they keep printing Realms, but the old 5-drop one seems to be the most popular one. This artwork, though, it's pretty nice. It looks like she's painting, so it's kind of neat, a little different. I don't know how in demand she's going to be, but it sounds like maybe in the future she could be pretty good. So if you can find her for cheaper, it might be worth it. But Realm has always been one of the integral characters for 6. I know that much. So yeah, there's going to be a contingent of folks going after Realm probably pretty highly. And Waka, oh geez, this might be the first possibly playable Waka we've seen as far as forwards go. I really like this art. It's really action. It's really detailed, and it's, I mean, it looks pretty sick for a full art. I'm glad that they highlighted Waka this time. He doesn't get enough love, and hopefully he's going to be good. I know all FF10 fans, they're going to be excited for that. And then finally, we have the Emperor. This is the Hidden Legends pre-release card. So for all you folks going out to pre-releases this weekend, you'll be getting one of these for every kit you purchase. Just visually, it looks pretty cool. I don't know who the Emperor is. I know there's a lot of Emperors. So who this one specifically looks like he's some kind of warlock in the sky. And you definitely have the darker motif going. So he looks like a bad guy, but the gold lettering, that's always pretty cool. So definitely pick up some pre-release kits this weekend. Yeah, like I totally agree with Alex in comments. Yeah, Leviathan is definitely go hard this set. Let's see what we're gonna go talk about next. Where's my screen? So I wanted to just briefly talk about some of the popular series and how they're highlighted this set. Let's see here. Let's zoom out real quick. So FF VII, probably the first game I played and near and dear to my heart. So that's always one of the first thing as a collector I'm always looking for every new set is, hey, what's the cool FF VII cards? Do we get a new Cloud or Tifa? And Opus. Here we go, 24. Unfortunately, kind of slim pickings here for FF VII cards. So I think we highlighted before that Genesis is probably the best or the main card for this set. The leader, I don't really know what game that was from. But there's been some other G cards. So, and it's a standard unit, so I'm not too surprised. Cloud, it's a cute theater rhythm. I'm glad that they're always printing a Cloud. He's always a pleaser. Cloud backup and Earth. That is interesting. I don't know what to say about that one, but definitely wasn't what I was intending or hoping for. Odin, that's always a classic summon in like every Final Fantasy game. This one, it looks cool, but nothing super special. And there's Vajharda Wu. I don't even know what that is. I wish I could say more about this. Maybe it's a good card, but just from a collector standpoint, not my favorite. So let's go back. Check out some of the other sets here. FF10 being a popular. Where is it? I know we saw some of this full art, so yeah. Okay, I feel like FF10 went pretty hard this set. We saw the full art Bahamut. That was cool. Bahamut's always a top, 3 summon in every game. This Titus, the art is not my favorite. And there's definitely other better Tituses, but Amano definitely I feel like can be hit or miss, and some of the other ones I've been more impressed with. But yeah, you definitely can tell it's kind of it's different and out there, not what you would typically think of Titus. Um, yeah, I guess he's holding a blitz ball here in this scene. It's hard to tell, but yeah, it's pretty all right. It's nice that they at least have a Titus, two Tituses actually. We talked about Belgiumine already. She's pretty cool. The full art, get her if you can. Same with Kamari. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. This Waka was a full art as well. And then you got the Jet and the Titus. The Titus is another Be of the Rhythm, so it kind of reminds me of that backup cloud, that type of art. And this Jet, he looks, I mean, DFF, whenever you see DFF, you know it's going to be some pretty good looking, you know, more modern looking character animation art. So even if they do have a screen grab, like it's going to look pretty detailed and more modern. The Waka we talked about already. This Ultima weapon, that was interesting. I know Ultima weapon wasn't really a big integral character in the game. It was kind of one of those like side quests and like how was it, the Omega Ruins or something. But yeah, it's cool as a limit break, I suppose. So overall, I'm a little disappointed that there's no Yuna, but that's just me personally. Last set we had the really cool looking Lulu, so yeah, I guess you can't have, you know, you got to switch it up every set to feature some of the other characters. So this feels like it's closing the loop on some of these FF10 characters that they've had previously. Um, just rounding out the set for the year. And it's a step up above 7, I'll say for sure. But not the most exciting if you're a FF10 fan. Other than the full arts, of course, those, yeah, by all means. But as far as main characters go, yeah, I don't know. So FF6, we'll talk about that one since I know there's a lot of FF6 fans out there, and it looks like they sure got a lot of cool looking cards and support. The lock was recently printed as a promo, and that went in kind of a fire, ice, water, tri-color theme. And so there's a lot of new FF6 support. I feel like this set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, there's some big name characters: Cyan, Amaro, another Terra, the rhythm art. This Go-Go one looks funny. I don't really know who he is, but some of the other Go-Go's have been pretty amazing. Once again, we talked about the Gao, the Strago, and the Mogs, those full arts. Yeah, definitely. And this one too. Wow, they really had a lot of full arts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 full arts. And the Realm 7 full arts. Wow, that's really sick that they got so many. Magna Rotor, I don't know, never heard of that one, but maybe it's kind of like one of those side character quests in FF6. And yeah, they a lot of cool looking cards. So if I'm an FF6 fan, I'm pretty happy with this set. Like they got a lot of full arts. Definitely be on the lookout for all of these. And I think there's going to be a good number of these that will be playable. So in particular, probably the Gao and maybe the Cyan or Amaro and possibly the Mog. Yeah, so that's really good for FF6, FF6 fans. And then, of course, we need to talk about or take a look at FF16. The first time ever in FF TCG we've gotten Final Fantasy 16 cards. And yeah, they definitely put a lot of effort into these. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit, give it the respect it deserves. Without, let's see, it's gonna go. It's a little too much, I guess. It's good as I can get it. But yeah, like there's a lot of cool looking FF16 cards. I would definitely want to get, a playset of some of these. Luckily, outside of this Clive, I think a lot of these are going to be more commons and rares, which is great for, opening boxes and getting these really big name characters, mainline characters. Clive, of course, is a legend, and the art is pretty sick. And when the new dominance and the icons as a new with the priming mechanic, I think that's going to be a lot of fun in the sealed and drafts, being able to search your deck and just slapping them on top of the card, the base card. And yeah, these Clives, they look pretty nice. Very artistic looking, I would say. So for a common, and they put a decent amount of effort into it. Again, this Joshua, you've got the whole background light motif. And so I love it when they do like the dark and the light contrast, or the color and the monotone. Kind of gives you some more depth to the character, maybe, I like to think. Joshua was obviously a main character, so even though he's a rare, like, it looks pretty nice. And yeah, you can't be too unhappy, pulling some of these and eventually getting a place out of all the Phoenix and the Joshua. It's like pairing them together. You got the Shiva. She looks pretty sweet. I love the thematic art here. It's like the sketch art, but they've got a lot of color to them, so the depth of color is really cool. Even though, Ice is typically just two shades of white or light blue, but like, you can definitely see a lot of extra colors and details. Same with the Phoenix, and different shades of red and rose, and it's really nice. The Jill and Torgal, Torgal is pretty cool as a dog wolf. Yeah, like, I mean, it's really the only maybe dog I can think of in this Final Fantasy. And it's cool that you can get all these mainline characters in this set. I feel like FF16 was big on character development and story, kind of following in the whole Game of Thrones idea, and so they spent a lot of time, going in depth into each of these characters. And I know Jill may be a little controversial, but she was the heroine of this game, so given her, a justifiable, nice looking art similar to the Joshua's. Did Clive have that as well? Yeah, so they're all pretty well detailed for just being a rare. Same with Torgal, he's pretty cool. Garuda, she is pretty sweet looking. So like, they all follow the same kind of theme and this like sketchbook type art. And Benedicta, yep, she's cool. The Hugo and the Titan together, they look really cool. I think, I'm not a big fan of drafts and sealed, but like, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see and try and get as many of these as you can and try and build a deck around them with limited or drafting. I think it'll be kind of fun. And you got the purple ones, the Sidolphus, and the mid, I think that was his daughter. And then Ramu, he looks super cool. Yeah, like, all the icons look pretty cool. No complaints from me here. Yeah. I wish the wolf was also an icon, but hey. And then the Dion and the Bahamut, the Odin. Yeah, they all look really cool. So definitely try and get the whole set if you can. Definitely, I would pick up at least one of each, and they would look really nice in the binder side by side like this, displayed like this. Since they all got the same kind of theme going on. as one person said, yeah, water kind of got, I don't think they printed a Leviathan icon or dominant, so yeah, they got all the other colors though, so unfortunately no water for FF16. But as far as the new set FF16 goes, they definitely hit the nail on the head with getting all the mainline characters into this game that I can think of. So yeah, I hope they're a lot of fun and playable, and yeah, I think they should be a lot of fun to collect the set. And yeah, that's kind of my initial thoughts for FF16. Let's see. What else did I want to go over? Okay, so when I look at new sets, now I'll talk a little bit more as a player perspective. I don't usually go color by color, just because there's a lot of cards in every set, and going by each color is there's a lot of cards to talk about, and I don't have the attention span to read through them all. So I'm just going to filter them by the legends and see if there's any that really pop out here. Let's see. Here we go. Legends, heroes. We'll just sort. All right, I guess we'll start doing some reading now, since we gotta see if some of these might be useful, possibly. I'll try and zoom in a little bit. So we've got the Clive. We'll start here. Haste, priming 2. So basically you can pay 6. And it sounds like the priming it's like an action ability where you can just activate it whenever you please on your turn, or I'm not sure it has to be your turn or not. Someone can go back and correct me. But basically you pay 6. He has haste. He boosts the other characters. That's all right. But this piece of text, I really, really like. When Clive deals damage to your opponent, discard your hand and then draw 2. So basically what you want to do is, maybe if you're going turn 1, you have 6 cards in hand. You play 2 cards to play a Searcher, and that will get you your Clive. So then you can play the Clive for 4 and then pay the priming cost to play your whole hand out. So that would be all 6 cards. So you would have Clive on the field, primed, and with haste, and a backup. And then if you're going first, you just attack, and then you would just draw 2 cards. So that's pretty amazing opening if you think about it. And you'll have a really big guy with Clive, Ifrit, that has haste, and it has this special where choose 1/4, deal at 10k, and that's if you have a Clive or Ifrit 16. So that's pretty good. Just having one of either card, you just draw it, and instead of having a random duplicate, you just pitch one, and you can do 10,000. That is pretty amazing. That just kills basically any forward, like even a warrior light. Doesn't even have to worry about it. So, and then you can just attack again next turn and draw 2 more. Sounds like it's going to be a pretty strong combo, potentially. When he enters the field, deals damage to your opponent, and then deals another 10k. So he's just dealing damage on entry and on attack when he does damage. So this is a really, really strong card. It's going to be hard to stop, and if you don't have any interaction, this is going to be a hard card to deal with. Amma's not going to work, because if you Amma the Clive, he can just prime into Ifrit, and yeah, it doesn't even affect him, and he'll still do a 10,000 on entry. So I think there's definitely some kind of combo here, and it's definitely one of my more highly rated cards of this set. Let's see, the Cyan. When it enters the field, you can play FF VI of 3 or less from your hand onto the field. I can't think of a lot of the FF VI characters off the top of my head. Let me just search that real quick. Category FF 6. Was it forwards? 3-drop? I don't even know what it was. So, like, you got some options. Maybe it was to play the Realm or the Go-Go. There's definitely a lot of 3-drops. The General Leo could be interesting if you can drop the Leo into another 2-drop. I'm not sure if they would really go together. You got some Terras. It's probably for this lock. The lock is really good. But then you can't play the other lock. Oh, and then you also have Strago. Yeah. So there's some good stuff for sure. This is the old Go-Go. So yeah. There's something there. There's for sure. The old lock. Classic lock. Yeah, I think that was probably the main idea behind that card. Let's go back real quick. Oops. I should probably be more organized. Where was I going? Okay. Searching this up again. Yeah, so I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's okay. You can put him into break zone. Choose an ability as choosing 1/6 forward. Cancels effect. That's okay. For a 4-drop, it's pretty expensive for protection alone. There's no haste. It's hard to see an argument playing this one over the other Cyans that were also pretty good. So unfortunately, there's a name clash there. But maybe there's something with Samurais. But again, I don't know if there's a lot of 6 Samurais. So 6 Samurais. Yeah, this card here was pretty wild. When he enters the field, you search up to 2 fire forwards, cost 2 or less, and play them onto the field. So if someone was mentioning you can play a Furion and Zidane, that would be pretty wild. But for 9, that's it's kind of like the Warrior Darkness Nox. It's a really risky play, but if you pull it off and not get canceled, it's going to be hard to stop that aggro, even with interaction. Yeah, like you definitely have to Amma this card if you have it in your deck or find a way to cancel it, because if this lands, it could be a game changer. Bahamut, select 1 to 2, deal 20,000 to a forward. That's a lot of damage. Deal 10k to all the forwards opponent controls. Remove top card from your deck until there are only 3 cards left. I don't know if you can play that. That's way too risky. Even as a finishing type card, like to go down to 3, like this has to be like the last card you're going to play. I don't know if I like that. And to pay 5 and to deal someone 20,000, unless you're combining it with, I think what was the card that was last set? The Legend that lets you reduce the cost of a Bahamut. Unless you're playing that Fire Legend, I don't think it's worth playing this. But again, the full art's pretty nice, so hey, maybe still get one. Kurasame, that was the box topper last set. When it enters the field, choose up to the same number of characters opponent controls. The backup you control, freeze them. that's okay. Decent ETB. When it attacks, if your opponent controls 4 or more dual characters, draw a card. This sounds like a pretty solid card to me. Ice doesn't have a lot of draw power, so I like that there's... you can definitely see the power creep here, where you have an ETB and an on attack for a lot of these more stronger heroes and legends. I'm sure someone will find a place for it, so not bad. Go-Go, when another FF VI forward, uttering Go-Go you control put from the field breaks down, add it to your hand. This will trigger once per turn. Yeah, I know the old Umaro could sack itself, and so I guess if you block or one of your guys dies, that's pretty nice that you can just add it right back, so it's like it didn't even really die. That seems pretty strong. I mean, him alone's not going to do a lot, but like if you have 1 or 2 in the deck and he comes in with like a ready-made field, I definitely see a warrant to it. Is it better than the other Go-Go? It's debatable. I'll leave it to ice players to decide. Genesis, okay. When Genesis or a Job Soldier enters the field, select one of the 3 following actions. Your opponent discards a card. Choose up to 2 characters, dual freeze them. During this turn, the cost required to cast your next Job Soldier is reduced by 3. The important part is you can play. This is not a once per turn thing, so if you can just spam the field with soldiers, you can get a lot of different effects going. So people talking about like the Ice Sephiroth, you could potentially have them discard their whole hand turn 2 if you have the 2 pieces, and also freeze their board. So that is pretty wild. I didn't see a lot, like we looked and we didn't see a lot of FF VII support, so we'll have to see if there's a way to build ice around it with soldiers or fire ice. I don't know exactly. But definitely has very, very strong text. So if it's not ready this set, it's gonna be down the road for sure. Zalera, you can cast Zalera. During your turn, select one of the 2 following actions. Your opponent selects 1 4 to cost 5 or more they control, put in the break zone, and they discard 1. Okay. I guess that's good against Earth. Your opponent selects 1 forward of cost 4 or less they control. Put into the break zone, your opponent discards 1 card. Yeah, no, that's pretty decent. I mean, they lose. Yeah. Guess right. So it's ETB. You can only cast oh, actually no, sorry, it's a summon, not ETB. But you can only cast during your turn. Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. They really don't want you casting these discard type summons on your opponent's turn. It feels very unfair. So having a strong effect on your turn is definitely the more fair thing to do, and paying 4 for it. It's pretty even, but it's kind of in line with these summons, these line of summons this set that are all heroes, so you know that they're pretty strong, but they're very conditional, meaning that they have strong abilities, but you have to know that they're going to play a 4 drop or a 5. And you have to know, set the field up such that the card that you want to destroy is maybe the only one since they select it. And so I feel like there's a lot of skill involved with these new summons, this one included, where you have to play around these conditions. But if you know your opponent's deck and can anticipate, how to counter it, this is definitely a very, very strong card. 4 is pretty expensive for it, though, I will say. Bunvils. When it enters the field, you may put any number of 4s, monsters you control, into the break zone. When you do so, your opponent selects 1 4 they control for each character you put into the break zone by its effect, and put them into the break zone. Your opponent discards 1 card for each character you put into the break zone by its effect. Woo! Now that is some crazy strong text. Wow. Puts 1 4 when you do so. Opponent selects 1 4 they control for each character. I will say it is unfortunate that it does not hit monsters. So if a deck plays a fair number of monsters, it's not going to be nearly as effective. 7 drop is pretty expensive, and you have to have bodies on the field to sacrifice. So, which I don't like sacrificing bodies, especially in ice, where there's not a lot of draw and value, I guess. It's got some strong text, but I don't know about it. Maybe someone can prove me wrong, but maybe as a finisher in a lockdown, if you can slow them down enough in the early game with a lot of dual freezing, a lot of last well plays, and then you drop this while you're ahead, this would definitely put someone away. So I don't know if it will help you come from behind. That's the unfortunate part. It's not really a board wipe. It's a pseudo board wipe, but you also sacrifice your own guys. So I don't know. Baleful, you can cast Baleful during your main phase. You may pay X as an extra cost for your top 7. Play 1 win character of X among them to the field, and shuffle the field cards to the bottom of your deck. For 1 drop, that sounds good on the surface, but you're really paying an extra at least 2. So 3 CP for a summon. Yes, the good part is the digging. There's no card that I can think of that lets you dig 7 deep and play a card straight up like that. So that is strong, yes. Early game, I could see if you're digging for backups, this is incredibly good. And going 7 deep means you're more likely to get some kind of good, decent character. Unfortunately, it only counts as 1 cast. But if you're going like cast 1 into this and you hit a Tomos, that could be pretty good, because then you get the Tomos out and then you just play something else for cast 2 and you get the Tomos trigger. So it's not terrible. I think, like I said, with the other summon, like, you have to find the right type of deck to play this in, and I'm sure it has its use cases. It's going to take some time to figure out what it is. It's optimal in Zidane. Oh, it always pains me to see a Zidane in Wind, because there's so many good Zidans in Wind. When Zidane enters the field or puts from the field into the break zone, choose 1 character in your opponent's break zone, remove from the game. During this game and cast it as though you owned it from any time you can normally cast it. It's okay. Like, you have no control over what they throw into the break zone. And then you also have to play of the same color, unlike the other Zidane. So I don't think you would play this over the other one. Unless you're playing Earth, Wind, or something, maybe. Titus. Warp counter removed from another player card other than Titus. Remove 1 warp counter. It'll only trigger if he's removed from the game and a warp counter is placed on Titus. Forwards with warp, you control gain haste, and it can't be chosen by summons. I like that it's a 0 cost warp 5. you want to play this with like a card like Mist or something, that's always warped, I guess, so you can make it go faster. But Warp 5 is just never going to see play. And the ability on Enter, it's not great. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know about this one. Belgiumine, on the other hand, can't be chosen by summons. That's good. 1-drop. That's good. 3,000. It's only one. During each turn, when you cast a second summon, you choose up to 2 forwards, deal them 4,000. Ooh, that's really good. During each turn, when you cast the third summon, choose up to 3 forwards you control, and the opponent puts them to the bottom of the owner's deck. So that is really, really strong. You could potentially wipe the board with her alone. That's pretty crazy. If you cast 3 summons, you get both abilities. Yeah, if you combine them with some thing like Lulu, where you can, reduce their power, and then maybe with like a Baleful or something that deals some damage. Old Baleful, I guess. I think there's also a new summon that does damage too and searches itself. That would be really good. We'll get there. So yeah, this one I think definitely we'll see play in mono win decks that are summon heavy, which most are. Would you play a playset? Probably not. At least one, or if your deck can search it, that would be ideal. Minwoo. Gains 4 can be chosen by opponent's abilities. Wonders Field. Chose 1 FF2/4 out of Minwoo in your break zone. It's costless and equal to number of backups you control. Play it to the field. Yeah. I don't know a lot of FF2 characters, but it seems okay. Nothing too special, but okay. Bosch. If you control 2 or more FF12 characters, the cost required to cast Bosch is reduced by 3. Sounds good. Anything cost reduction, especially in Earth, is always good. Potentially playable. So reduced by 3, make them a 2-drop. And that's if you own the requirements has 2 more 12 characters. I'd have to go back and look at the list of FF12 characters, but I don't think doesn't sound too hard to do. So a 2-drop 9k, that's really good. At the beginning of the attack phase, that always sounds good. During each of your turns, select 1 of 2 following actions. Until the end turn, all forwards you control gain 2k in Brave. That's like a Mott in 1. Holy moly. Reveal the top 3 of your cards to your deck, add 1/12 among them to your hand, and put the rest in the break zone. That's, I guess, if you're doing a 12 deck, but the Mott to all your guys every turn, that's amazing. Bumping him up to 11k for a 2-drop, oh wow, that is really good. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. Now I'm curious. Gosh. Okay, I'm going to open a new tab real quick. Actually, I'm going to cheat and go to FF Decks instead. I wonder if I can switch back and forth or not. Yeah, I don't want to switch the window, but maybe I can present, stop, present. All right, we're gonna switch to FF Decks, and just to pique my curiosity here, we'll go back to the other tab in a minute. But let's take a quick look at FF12 Earth. I believe it was characters. Yeah, and then I love their meta feature. So you can just quickly at a glance see which are the most meta characters. Yeah, I guess it would just be Benga or no wonder. Huh. Zombie has seen play in like some monster decks. Um, yeah, I don't know if this card is ready for prime time just yet. Maybe Gabranth, but you need two of them. So maybe if you throw some Bangas into your deck as backups, okay, not terrible. If you can find a way to fit in zombies, increase your likelihood. But I don't see a lot of great targets, so yeah, I don't think it's ready just yet. But man, that tech sounds amazing. Then we go to Hugh Yerg. When it enters the field, search for one Earth forward, Leo, of cost 1 and play it to the field. When a Earth forward cost 1 enters the field, choose one forward until end turn. It gains 2k and Brave. That seems to be the theme this set. It sounds like a trap because it's a forward, and we already have good ways to get Leo with backups with Claris and Epitaph, and even what's his name, Ingus. So I don't see the need for this card since it's just a Leo searcher specifically. The only other one-drop Earth that's relatively seen play is Suzuhiza that I can think of. I don't recommend it. Maybe one of at the most. For 4 costs, cost reduction. I don't love it. Fenrir. If you cast Fenrir, you may discard a card's extra cost. Choose one forward. Opponent controls. If its cost is equal to the cost of the card discarded by extra cost, break it and draw a card. So, I just want to see real quick. I'm going to switch back to FF decks. I know I'm switching back and forth here. But okay, let's just take a look at some of these meta decks. So this was the Ishtola Cup, the winner in China recently. This looks like a pretty standard mono earth type deck that we've seen play recently. But what I want to see here with regards to that summon, the Fenrir, is our cost distribution. So what we see here is we have a lot of 3-drops, 4-drops, 5-drops, a few 2-drops here and there. Not a lot, though. You can see we have only 1 2-drop forward, summon, and the backup, which you really want to be playing. So knowing your deck, and it's heavy focused on 3, 4s, 5s, 6s to an extent, and even 1-drops you can search with relative ease. I'd say that covers the spectrum of most decks, which I would say is good, meaning you can search the number that you need with, say, an Ingus, or even a backup searcher, like off the backup. If you've got these extra backups, these 3-drops here, you can easily just pitch them to pay the cost, and you can kill like a Refia or something like that, or even a Warrior Light, if you have all these extra 4-drop Kokas, or Clarises, usually you just want to get one Claris, and then after that, it's like, well, I really don't want to be drawing them, and when I do, they're just dead cards. So, yeah, if I can refund the value, going back to the, let's see, the other screen here, the Fenrir, you get to break a card and draw a card. Now, that's something you don't see in Earth a lot, so the value is there. I think this is an amazing card. It just requires you knowing your opponent's deck and knowing your deck and how to get to the card number that you need. So I really like this card. And the art is freaking amazing. So just playing it for that reason alone, I can't blame anyone. I think it's justified. Morse. How many of these we have? Oh boy. All right, that's a lot. I'm going to try and go quicker because I'm not used to talking this long. And yeah, so, and this is really just a test stream. How long have I been going here? 84 minutes? Okay, well, I can go as long as I need, but this is just for testing purposes. Here we have Morse. It's a hero, and it's more importantly, it's a 3-drop and a warrior, meaning you could play this potentially in a Tyvus deck, even though it's off color, or you can play this in a 7-drop CP Gigaball deck potentially. 3-drop 8K, that's above curve. So text, he's got Brave. When it enters the field, you may pay an extra cost. When you do so, choose a 4 opponent controls, and they deal damage to each other. Okay. Seems okay if you can play him, cheat him out. That seems amazing. But Earth is kind of an off color for both of those decks, so you'd have to find a way to fit Earth into those decks. Damage 3 gains 1k power. Damage 5, same thing. Seems like you want to play one of when you get into the later stage of the game. Not very useful early on, but it's a cool tech card. Maybe a one of in one of these decks, worth playing around with. Lightning. It's only 2-drop, 7k. That's above curve. Name Lightning and Earth. We haven't seen that too much. When Lightning blocks or is blocked, choose one attacking and blocking forward. Opponent controls remove from the game and return Lightning to its owner's hand. You can pay 1, deal Lightning from hand, remove 1 card named Lightning in your break zone from the game, and play onto the field. And yeah, it's a very strong card. You have to play a lot of Lightnings, and it's kind of cool. You got the pull back attack thing going. So anytime she attacks or blocks, you can get her ability to go off. So it doesn't even matter what their power is. You can automatically get rid of it. And then she goes right back to your hand. You just need extra lightnings in your break zone as ammo. So if you're playing maybe a Soldier 1 lightning deck, yeah, this could be a really cool card, especially that the 1 cost is of any color. So there's been a lot of good lightnings in lightning and water, so there could definitely be something there. Yeah, it seems like a very fun card. I'm not sure if it fits into the traditional mono earth because you'd have to find room for lightnings. But yeah, if you can find a way to make a 13 deck or something around it, or a lightning type theme deck, this is a really strong one. Maybe the strongest lightning we've seen. So yeah, definitely worth checking out or experimenting, testing to see if you can make her work. It'd be great if you could. The summon, lightning summon, Valagarmanda. Choose a forward, dole it, and freeze it. It loses 9k power until end turn, deal at 9k. I'm not sure what to think of that. So the dole and freeze a forward sounds good on its own, but then you also make it lose 9k, and then you deal it. So like you're just like really crushing a single forward, which seems like overkill unless I'm reading it wrong. No, it looks like it's just one forward. So that's yikes. I don't know if I like it or not. I'll have to sleep on that one. There's got to be some use for it, like that I just don't see. But instant reaction, I don't see it. I don't get it. Artwork, on the other hand, amazing. I think we said that already, but it goes without saying. All the summon arts, go get them. Emperor, that was the pre-release card, so definitely pick this up. When it enters the field, gain a crystal. If your opponent has a crystal, also gain a crystal. So you can get 2 crystals on entry. Not bad for 3, but they also have to be playing crystals. Crystals, okay. Pay 1. It does not have haste, so you can't just use it. 3 CP, 5k, that's under curve. But it is a hero. You dole it, choose a forward, a cost 4 less, break it. That's good. Reads good. 2, 3, break all the forwards among. Oh, wow. Okay, that is really good. Ooh, for 3 crystals, it's not hard to get 3 crystals in a lot of these decks nowadays. And you can just wipe their board. So the key word here is forwards and monsters. You don't see, there hasn't been a monster board wipe outside of Limit Break Ishtola and Neo X Death. So, but again, 5k, it just dies to anything. And it has no haste, so you have to give it haste. I mean, Lightning does have a lot of cards like the Ramu Summon or Core Monster. Some of the backups can give things haste, so it's not impossible. 3 CP, and you have to have the crystals ready. So it requires some setup for sure. The payoff is pretty good. I would say if you had a way to search it and give it haste when you need it later, yeah, you can just surprise somebody like even on their turn. That's reads really well. So I don't know if it's ready yet, but it's definitely one of those cards to keep an eye on. You know, in the back of your mind, like that's some incredibly powerful text for sure. Is it ready yet? Right now, I don't know. But since it's a pre-release kit, you know, go ahead and go start collecting them right now. Get your playset while they're maybe undervalued. Hi guys. Jack Garland. Oh, this was a controversial card. So 4-drop 9k, that's above curve. When it's Jack Garland's also named Garland in all situations. Unfortunate, since Garland is a very good card in its own right. The forward opponent controls must attack once per turn if possible. That is good, considering it's a 9k. The forward opponent controls must block if possible. Also good. So forcing combat is always good because that makes it so they don't have the option to just take damage instead and trade. So I think there's definitely got to be some specific cases for this card. Maybe there's got to be some kind of Strange in Paradise theme where you can search them easily and play the card you need. Because again, these are really strong. The forwards opponent controls must block possible when character opponent controls put from field and breaks down gain a crystal. So you're generating crystals like crazy off this card if you're getting it to work. And yeah, you're just running things down with 9k. And if one of your guys dies, you just play a Nyx for 1 CP and start running guys down next turn. So this is really good. My only minor gripe is it's a little expensive. There's no instant payout, so it has to survive. And it's susceptible to, dual freezing. And there's no haste. So if it's a sitting duck. If they got removal on their turn, they're just gonna hit this, with their removal cards. 9K is hard to remove, I'll give it that, but you don't get any initial payout, which I think is Lightning's problem. There's no initial value. It's outside of like Irvine, which has haste, so that's why that card was so amazing. Furion, here's a Rebel DFF and Category 2. It's got some synergy maybe with the Minwu and Wind. You can only pay with CP produced by Lightning backups to cast Furion. Well, it's only a 2-drop 8K. That's above cost. Pay an extra 2 until end turn. He gains haste and first strike. 4 costs, 8K, haste, first strike. I think we've seen that with like other cards, maybe like Kelger or something. It's not terrible. But does have ability where you can where you can choose a forward, break it. That's good. Activate Furion, and it can attack once more. Oh. So that's something you want to do on your turn, obviously. So I imagine on attack, you want to pay the 4. 4 is a little steep to break a character. Or forward, not even a character. So it's expensive. Yeah, I don't know. If you can cheat them out, maybe. But my issue with Lightning is you got to pay the full cost, and there's no payout initially. Leon, 1-drop 9K. Whoa. And it's a Warrior Rebel too. Okay, maybe that's where we're going with this FF2 theme here. When enters the field, choose 1 damage forward, deal a 4K. That's really good. When Leon is chosen by your opponent's abilities, your opponent gains control of Leon. That is not good. No. At the end of each of your turns, if you control 1 or less job rebel, Leon deals you 1 point of damage. I don't know if there's any rebel backups, but otherwise there's a lot of downsides with this card. But it makes sense. It's only 1 CP, 9K. You can't be super good on all fronts. So, yeah, very conditional. You'd have to think really hard about how you want to build the deck. But it's only 1 cost, so like it doesn't matter if it doesn't have any initial value like the other cards. Like if it dies, oh well, you only paid 1. Astrius. Water. Okay, 5 for 9. That's pretty expensive. Let's read the text. If you have a total of 7 or more FFBE cards in your break zone and or FFBE cards you own removed from the game, the cost required to cast Astrius is reduced by 5. Hey, so what was the cost? If you have a total of 7 or more break zone, that's a lot. That's a lot, but a free card is always good. It just has a huge deck building cost to it. But free 9K. When Astrius attacks, select one of the following 2 options. Choose a fort, lose 7K. Astrius deals your 1 point of damage. Wow. That's pretty good. It could justify the deck building cost if there's other good FFBE. I know Earth and Water has some good FFBE. There's always been Glaciella has been super popular. Can't think of the other ones off the top of my head, but I guess I can cheat and open a new window. Okay, I will go back and forth. Let me, just because it piques my curiosity, I will switch over to FF decks. Just so I can keep that other window open, and I like the searching ability on FF decks. I'm just used to it from all these years, and like I said, the meta. So I've got sort by crystals. Okay, no, I want. Let's go by meta. So there's Glaciella. Looks like Shantoto. Cyan. Yeah. Lilith, but that's mostly for knights. Same with Agrias. So I guess if you're playing maybe some of these backups, you could justify, because there's a lot of these backups are. Is that the same? Oh, I have to just, yeah. Oh, okay, I have to search FF VII. Sorry about that. I was forgetting something. Here we go. Okay, so if you're going to build an FF VII deck, that is going to be a challenge. Yeah, I can see why. Yeah, the deck building cost is pretty significant. 7. I couldn't give you 7 of these. I recommend. I mean, Glaciella, obviously. Ramza, I'm a fan of personally. I like Banera's, maybe, but that's a one of. Maybe one of Ralph, but yeah, these other ones, I don't know. That's if we sort by serial, we definitely have a lot this set. So I think the idea is to play all these other ones. And they're like commons and rares, so this is obviously going to be the payout card for this deck building cost. That being said, I don't think it will see play in the meta because the cost is so high and the payout is hard to justify for this Astrius. Cool card. Maybe in the future. Keep an eye on it. Strago. When it enters the field, choose one card in your damage zone, add it to your hand, put one card from your hand into the damage zone. Its EX burst will not trigger. When a card is put from damage zone into your damage zone, your opponent selects one for to control and puts it into break zone. Ooh, that sounds really good. At first, when I read that, I thought it was amazing. Then I read the last line, and it says, this effect will only trigger during your turn, only once per turn. So you have to really manipulate your damage zone, which is not easy to do on your turn. There's basically the summon from the last set, the 1-drop Leviathan, which never saw play. And then there's the 2 CP Water Larsa EX. Outside of those two, there's not a lot that I can think of off the top of my head. But hey, being able to swap a card and force them to put a card forward into break zone, that's pretty good. But for a 6 CP backup, that's really expensive. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. This Leviathan here. If you cast Leviathan, you may remove 4 card-named Leviathan in your break zone from the game as an extra cost. Your opponent selects one forward or monster to control, put it into break zone. If you pay the extra cost, your opponent selects 2 forwards or monsters, and they control and puts it into break zone. So this goes well with Mono Water Leviathan, obviously. Like some of the other cards, there's a deck building cost. You have to have a lot of Leviathans. Unfortunately, there's not that many Leviathans I would deem playable in the meta. Maybe the 6 CP EX Leviathan for sure. Cancel Levy, that's 6. The other ones, like, they're not, I feel like they've been power crept, so it's hard to justify playing. The only other one I really like is the free Leviathan when you play forward, and if you're playing Yuna, which the Yuna backup to reduce the cost, it doesn't really play nice with that card. So because instead of being free, you have to pay 1 because of Yuna. So I want to like this card more because it reads well if you have Yuna on the field, where if you pay 2 CP, you can potentially break up to 2 cards. No draw, but breaking, 2 cards, especially monsters potentially, which Water has never been able to hit. That's definitely unique and a first for Water. So I like it to a degree, but I think it would be better with other forms of removal. It wouldn't be my first option. Realm, I think we talked about this Realm a little bit already, but when it enters field, if you control 5 or more Category 6 characters, you may search for 1 monster of cost 3 or less, play to the field. There's not a lot of good 3 monsters, and as we'll see later, there's not a lot in the set either. So this, for 3 CP, 5k, under curve, no haste, so this ability probably won't ever trigger. Choose a monster, that's also forward against 2k, nothing special. Don't like it. Maybe one day when there's amazing 3-drop Category 6 monsters, but no, not right now. Waka, okay, so this one is 3-drop 6k, slightly under curve. For each character, X character or the Waka you control, gain 1k, so it gets boosted. When it enters the field, choose 1 forward opponent controls. If its power equal to less than Waka's power, put it on top of its owner's deck. Oh, that's interesting. So, yeah, that's potentially really strong. But you have to have a few others on board first. It kind of reminds me of the Water Wind Yuna, where it depends on the number of X characters you have on the field. And so these are great. Unfortunately, Waka is a really good backup too. But now that they've got, Buddy and things, it's a lot easier to get Category 10 backups onto the field. So this with Buddy, Riku, Kamari, there's a good number of backups that you can play early on to boost all these cards. So going back to the Guardian, maybe I could see this going with the Gold Wings, and then the Element Reel special, kind of like the other one. From the starter, choose 1 forward, loses 5k power until end turn. I thought it broke. No, it doesn't even break it. So I guess it's good for the ETB. And then you can always reduce it for 5k is pretty significant. So anytime you're attacking, if you subtract 5k from any forward, you're almost always going to win. So it's a sneaky little trick. I like it. I think it'll be fun to play in a 10 deck, and I've always like to keep a 10 deck around, so I'll definitely be playing around with this one. Home stretch here. Let's see here. Bahamut. Brave. When Dion primes into Bahamut, choose up to 2 forwards, deal them 9k. Wow, that sounds good. Amazing. 4-drop, 10k, above curve. It is a light, though, so it has to be above curve. 4-drop, I don't hate. That's pretty strong. Kind of, it's like the Stern Leonis range. Especially taking out 2 guys on priming. That's really good. I think Dion was a 3-drop or something, so you have to pay the initial cost. But even by itself, okay, it's priming only. Never mind. Yeah, so this is like a one of that you want to keep in your deck, stash hidden. Never want to draw this ever. I guess the Zeta Flare. Choose one forward, lose all abilities, and in turn break it. Hey, that's not bad. I could justify it. Yeah. 10k, Brave. If you have hand clutter, it removes your hand clutter. I don't hate it. Yeah, 2 CP to kill anything is always good. The lose all abilities, I don't think I'm really significant. You're just going to break it anyway. Lucio, Warrior of the Kindle Knight. When it enters the field, you may search for 2 Job Warrior of the Crystal, each a different element, add them to your hand at the beginning of the attack phase during each of your turns. Gains 2k until end turn, gain 2 crystals. That's a lot of good text. But you have to build these Job Warrior of the Crystals. So there's definitely a crystal theme going on, especially with the FFBE. It'll be fun to see what people come up with. I don't play with crystals too often, so I don't know. But I know there's been some good water ones that people have been playing around with the last couple sets, so there could be something there. Yeah. Odin, Icon, another priming. Haste, First Strike, always good. 4-drop 10k, just like Bahamut. No Brave, but I would definitely take the Haste First Strike. When he primes into Odin, he can, when Odin attacks, activate Odin, and he can attack twice in the same turn. Okay, so that's attack twice. That's always good. That's good. So he's got haste first strike, attacks twice. Sounds good to me. 10k, you run over everything. So it doesn't even matter if it doesn't have Brave. He just activates and attacks again. Special to activate Odin. I can attack once more. So you can attack 3 times or more. That's you can OTK with him alone and a bunch of him in copies in your hand. That's cool. I mean, it forces your opponent to have some sort of interaction. Otherwise, he's just gonna run over your field. It'll be fun. Unfortunately, it'll only trade unless Barnabas has an ability. Otherwise, he'll just trade with Warrior Light. But it should be easier to get out than Warrior Light because that requires a lot of setup. Whereas here, you can just get one to darks pretty easily. And it's got the special, so you can get rid of the hand clog, which I like. Wrath, another one of these War of the Crystals, enters the field. Your opponent, I think the last one was, so light, and there's a dark. Warrior of the Kindle Light, but this is a Warrior of the Crystal. I guess you can't play them both, so choose one or the other. Enters the field, choose one forward, opponent controls, and in turn it loses 4k for each crystal you have. That's really good. Kill on entry for a 3k 9-drop. That's really nice. Pay a crystal, can be chosen opponent's summons abilities on the end turn. That is really good. Okay. Yeah, because you can just chain that on the stack, and the fact that it's not chosen by summons or abilities makes this really, really hard to kill. The only way to kill it would be either board wipe, which is hard with a 9k, or it has to be like those cards like Animus that don't target necessarily, and it has to be the only one left. So this is a really hard card to kill, so long as you have the crystals to pay for it. But I think there's definitely going to be something there for sure. Okay, so Iron Giant, Limit Break 2, when it enters the field, select 1 or 2 following. Choose forward, cost 2 or less, deal at 5k damage. Nah. Choose a dull forward, deal at 7k. It's pretty expensive for a 3-drop. Not impressed. Sorry. Magna Rotor. When it enters the field, you control 4 or more ice characters. Your opponent reveals their hand, selects 1 card from their hand. Your opponent discards this card. It has 4 or more wind characters. It gains haste at the end of turn. 5-drop. Limit Break 2. But you have to have a setup board. I have to think about that. I mean, if you're playing Wind Ice, you'd have to have like a backup, a Lock, and either a Melvin or a Sid Hayes to pull this off. And I don't hate one of them. It's nice to have, but it's nothing overwhelmingly like I want to build my whole deck around just this card. Earth, Wind. Man, these characters, I can't pronounce their names. Vajradharawu. Man, this is an FF VII character. I've never heard of this one. 5-drop, 8K, under curve. Limit Break 2, kind of expensive. When it enters the field, select 1 of 2 following. Choose a damage forward, break it. Okay. Choose 1 forward opponent controls. They deal damage equal to respective power. Okay. So you come in and you break one thing. I mean, breaking a card is always good, but it has to be smaller, so it's kind of expensive. Yeah, I guess it's not bad for like a mono Earth. You can break something as an alternative to Noctis. Good to have one, I guess. The Dragon King, 9-drop, 9K. That is expensive. Enters field if you have choose up 2 characters in your break zone. If you have 4 or more Earth, add them to your hand. That's pretty good. Enters field, choose 1 forward. If you have 4 more lightning characters, break it. So, if I'm reading this right, you pay 9. That justifies the limit break 2. You can potentially get up to 2 cards from your break zone, and you can break a guy. You know, for Earth, 9-drop isn't really that bad, honestly. I kind of like it. You get, 4 CP back in value, and you break one of theirs. I think that's pretty strong. I mean, just to break one guy, though, and but getting 2 characters is really nice. So it doesn't have to be Earth. I definitely would play one of these in an Earth deck, so I kind of like where Mono Earth is with these as different options. Very conditional, but actually, you can't play in Mono Earth, sorry. It had to be Earth Lightning. Yeah, I still like it, though. Earth Lightning, traditionally, it relies a lot on the summons, especially like Chaos Arc with Man in Black. So having extra ways to break things, and this one is not like cost specific, so break any character, I think that's good. And you get to refund with 2 characters, go to town, it's always good. I think it's still pretty decent, so you don't have to rely on Chaos Arc so badly. Tomberry, limit break 2, 4-drop, 5K, under curve, expensive. When it enters the field, select one of the following. Choose active forward, cost 3 or less, break it. Active forward. That's kind of conditional. Look at top 2 of your deck, add 1 card, and return the other to the bottom. I don't like it for 2. If it was 1, I would be more enthusiastic, but for 2, I think there's better options. Ultimate Weapon. Last one here. When Ultimate Weapons are field, choose one forward. If you control 4 or more fire characters, Deal 9k damage when ultimate enters the field. If you control 4 or more water characters, your opponent selects 1/4 they control, put it into the break zone. I do like that these are separate abilities, and it comes in, it's 6 drops, 9k, that's more or less on curve, and they just kills 2 guys, essentially, if I'm reading this right. You choose one and they choose one, essentially. I actually like this a lot. 4 fire characters and 4 water characters, that's really not that hard for fire water, honestly. You're going to be playing like 2 water backups, 2 fire backups. This counts as a third, so you just need like a realm and another forward, like a Tybus, or I mean, there's so many things you could do, like 2 monsters, and you're ready to meet the requirements. Yeah, no, I really like this one. You kill 2. One of my issues with fire water is the lack of efficient removal. So fire has a lot of removal, water has removal, but together, fire is not the most efficient, I would say, just my opinion. Outside of like Ifrit and things of that nature, but that's more mono fire specific, and water has things like ash, which is also mono water specific. So the combination of 2, it's a weird, in a weird place. There's no board wipes, so this is semi board wipey-ish. I feel like it's a good card to help control the board. I like it. I would stick a bunch in my deck if I were playing Firewater. So yeah, that is the Heroes and Legends. Let's see. Oh my gosh, that was 2 hours. Do I want to keep going? Let me see. What else do I want to talk about? Is there more stuff? I think I kind of hit the highlights already with a lot of these. But let's just take a quick look at some of the other things. I know we already talked about some of these already, limit breaks. So we'll go through these real quick, see if we missed any. I like to look at all the limit breaks. Let's just do our due diligence from the set. Oh, okay, so we talked about a lot of these already. And so Tenzen, this is a really cool looking card. Design wise, it's a limit break 3 7-drop, expensive, 9k, but it's got Brave, and until the end of the turn, all Job Samurai and forwards named Samurai gain 3k Brave, and they can attack twice. That is really, really good. Yeah, I feel like you can play both Tenzens, like the old one, once they kill that, which they have to, you just drop this one. So I feel like this is really good. I want to say, like, you want to spam the board with more forward samurais. It may not go good as well with the new Hien that's relying on 14 characters, so it might be tough to build around. And I'm not sure if there's enough good forward samurais. I know the standard unit that breaks depending on number in your break zone, that one's really good. The other ones have been kind of expensive, so I'm not sure if it justifies the cost, but I'm sure people will look into it, because once upon a time, samurais were like the best deck when I started playing, and they were everywhere. Snow, enters the field, choose 1 card named Lightning or Sarah, add to your hand. 5, limit break 3. Expensive, under curve, but it's a searcher on demand, so you have to respect that, and be able to get a Lightning whenever you need. That's always going to be good. So, yep, in 13 decks, definitely I would have to play it. Zidane. Oh gosh, a Win Zidane Limit Break. I feel like Win just keeps getting shafted with these limit breaks. Limit Break 1, okay. Can't be blocked by 4, it costs 4 more. 4 is expensive, but in reality, it's the same as a regular 2-drop in your hand. Zidane. 5k, okay. And just feel your opponent puts top 2 in a break zone. If both cards same, draw a card. So it could be refunded. It's okay, not great. Celsius, limit break 1, 5-drop 9k. That's solid stats. I like that only 1 cost limit break. If it's still damaged by opponent's summons or abilities, the damage becomes 0 instead. That is really, really good. I love any cards with inherent protection. Celsius can't be broken by opposing summons or abilities that don't deal damage. That is a really good card. I would definitely play this in any deck that plays Earth. Yeah, it's a nice option to have outside the mods, I'll say that. So definitely playable. Probably one of the better limit breaks, I would say, in this set. Gilgamesh, when enters field, select limit break 1, 4-drop 7k under curve, but only cost 1. Select 1 to 2, choose a 4 to cost 1, break it. Yeah. Choose 2 cards in your opponent's break zone, RFG from the game. Yeah. In specific situations, okay. It's a nice change. I mean, I prefer Nyx as a beat stick, but maybe situationally you want to get rid of something in the break zone, and having a break zone removal on demand is, I think, always going to be good when you don't have an Irvine in your hand. So I think it's solid. Warrior Lights, limit break 1, that reads well. You must control 3 or more job standard unit forwards or Warrior Light forwards to cast Warrior Light. The forwards other than Warrior Light you control gain this forward can't be chosen by your opponent's abilities. If this forward is dealt damage by your opponent's abilities, the damage becomes 0 instead. But forwards other than Warrior Light gains can be chosen by opponent's abilities. So it protects from abilities, not summons. I mean, that's still pretty good. I would prefer both, but for 2-drop, 1 cost, limit break, 8k, it's hard to complain about. Gives Refia some protection. I know Refia decks, there's a lot of ways to kill Refia nowadays, and so keeping her alive, even increasing the odds, by 50%, that's pretty significant, I would say. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Vikings could potentially use it. I still think, yeah, if you're playing in a Refia deck, you might have like Refia and maybe Varus and Arc or something. That could work. Otherwise, you would be playing better Warrior Light, so it's tough with the name clash, unfortunately. Still think you should play it 1 at least. So it's only 1 cost. 2. Yeah, it's not bad. The other ones we talked about, I don't really like them. This one I like. This one I don't. This one I like. So yeah, I think this one probably my favorite. I don't think this one is worth the cost of playing Earth Lightning, which is not really in the meta right now. And these other ones, I'd rather play some of these other ones instead. Like, yeah, the Celsius is really nice. This is okay. Yeah. It's kind of cool now that we have a lot more limit breaks, so we have more decisions to make of what cards to put into our 8 slots. Before, we would just shove in whatever limit breaks were available at the time. So, but we're 3 sets in now. We have a lot of options. Limit breaks are going to be much more tactical, and it's going to take more, deck building thought than ever before. So I really like that. Deck building is my favorite part of the game. So it's a good thing overall, and I'm glad they're not super overpowered, but I guess you can't have winners for all of them. So yeah, that's that. Let's switch gears a moment and talk about some summons. I like looking at summons, monsters, and backups. So we'll just do the summons and monsters real quick. Yeah, any rarity. Wait a minute, did I mess up? Search name, monster, summon, any. Oh, limit break, checked. Okay. Some of these we already talked about that were heroes and legends, so we can skip over that. The Deadly Nightshade. When one or more fours you control attack, you may put into break zone. I think that's the theme of the monsters in the set. So on attack, you can break it. Once put into break zone, choose 4, deal 7k. For 1 drop, deal 7k. That's above curve. I don't hate that at all. Yeah. Could be good in a fire water monster deck potentially. Salamander, choose a forward, up to 1 out of 4, deal 7k. If you control 5 more backups, deal the latter 5k. 3 drop, summon, not good, not great. I mean, it'll probably be good for limited. Bahamut we talked about. Cool art, probably wouldn't play it. The Zlara we also talked about. Essentially, if you can find the right fit, I don't hate it. I'm not an ice player, so I probably won't be the one to tell you what the right fit is, but the text reads well, and I think it could justify the cost, potentially. Piscodemon, that's a monster. One of those when you can break it on attack, and when it's put into the field, into the break zone, choose up to 2 characters, duel them and freeze them. Oh wow, that is good. For 2, you can freeze. I like that. I really like that. And I love how all these work with Witch of the Fens from last set. So if you want to do a water / any of these elements, you can easily throw in these monsters and they are totally playable. You can trigger them on your turn or their turn, which is pretty amazing, and deal them 7k or reduce their power by 7k. So that is absolutely amazing. Mateus, select one of the 2 following actions. Choose a duel forward, a cost 3 or less, break it. Okay. Choose 1 duel forward, 1 forward, duel it, draw a card. I like it. I think dueling on your opponent's turn and drawing is really good. It's not as good as duel freeze, but it still stops them from attacking, and they can't reactivate until their next turn. So you've essentially shut down that forward on their turn and on your turn too. So, and you get to draw a card to refund itself. I really like it. I really like it. Especially drawing in ice, hard to do. So any chance you can find to draw in ice, I highly recommend taking those cards pretty seriously. Veil 4, we talked about that one. It's cool. You can go 7 deep and dig, get Animus, cast 1, but 3 CP. Yeah, it's going to definitely take some deck building thought to see what the optimal targets are. Going for backups early, obviously. Paying 3 CP. I mean, it's like losing 2 cards. But you get to play cards, so it's not bad. I like the idea of being able to dig for backups early on. It's going so deep, you're almost guaranteed to get one. So yeah, that's good. I'm not sure how many I'd play at the moment. I'd have to do some experimenting with that one, but it's definitely a card I'm intrigued with. Veil 4, even though it doesn't say X, it should be a Final Fantasy X card, but I'll still consider it a Final Fantasy X card, even though it doesn't say it. Leech Bat, let's see, break on attack. Your opponent reveals a card in a hand. You may select one card in a hand and discard it, and they draw a card. So, if you can control like when to break it, so it's not just during your attack, I like it a lot. Otherwise, I'd rather just use the Dawn, or I don't know. I mean, discarding and drawing is just filtering for them. So I don't think it's the greatest unless they just searched it, which is why I said on demand, like if you're combining with Witch. Otherwise, by itself, not so great. I wouldn't recommend it. Wing Wraith. Okay, this is a card I was thinking of with Belgiumine. Choose one forward, opponent controls, deal 3k, search for one card named Wing Wraith, and add to your hand. So you could just play one, it'll search for another one, and play another. And if you have Belgiumine, you deal 3k to two guys, and then here you deal another 6k. So that's 9k to a guy, and you play the third one, and you basically can wipe, their board essentially. You can get rid of 4 forwards with this card and Belgiumine alone. I feel like that's a card. This has got to be a combo you got to test out, and yeah, this is pretty cool in the summon form for 1 drop, and it counts each one as a cast. So I like it. I like it a lot. Definitely, I don't know how good it's going to be, but I definitely want to experiment with it. Gooseth, select 1 of 2 following actions. Choose a backup you control, remove from the game, draw a card. That doesn't sound that good. Choose a forward, opponent controls. If it deals damage to you or forward this turn, damage equals 0 instead. I mean, it's good against like Geneva or something, or maybe like a Luso. But we've seen similar cards like this in the past in other colors, and they just haven't seen a lot of play. So I feel like protection is not as good as breaking or removal, but I could be proven wrong. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like it, but that Acoustic just so much better. Recursion is always good. Cactite, 2-drop monster. One of those breaks on attack. You can, let's see, choose 1 doll forward opponent controls and break it. I like it. If you can, once again, control when it's broken, so it's not just on your attack. I mean, it's okay just on your attack, but if you can Witch defends it, it's even better if you could do it on their turn when they attack. 2-drop, yeah, that's there's something there. Earth Water, I feel like there's something always gonna be there with Earth Water. Fenrir we talked about. I think it's a really good card. And if you know your matchup, it could be an amazing card. This summon, I said, I don't understand it. Maybe someone will prove me wrong. This one, choose opponent controls. As an EX burst, I don't hate it. Especially if you're playing with X Death. Just don't use it on like anything 5-6 CP or higher. But any 4-drop, 3-drop, I think that's absolutely fine. Behemoth, when you break on attack, choose a forward, and if it deals damage to your opponent, other than its ability, that damage becomes 2 instead. Sounds pretty solid. People could toy around with Bravada, the old primal that's never really seen play, but this seems to be the perfect match for it. Yeah, if you can find an opening with lightning, this is crazy aggro or crazy good value. So yeah, that's sound reads pretty cool. Might be conditional, so I don't know how good it'll be in the competitive meta. Siren EX 3-drop, don't like unless it's got reads well. Choose a forward during this turn. Next damage becomes 0 instead. Draw a card. Draw is always nice, but I don't really like it. There's not a lot of cards I would want to protect in water. I mean, maybe outside of Big Leviathan 9 CP. I don't know. I'd rather play this one, which removes. I think I mentioned that it's if there were more good levies in the future, this card's going to be amazing. Otherwise, it's just okay right now. But being able to hit monsters is good for water. Marlboro, when one or more break on attack. So enter all forwards, opponent controls lose all their abilities in 3K. What's that? All forwards of your opponents lose their abilities. I really like that. Yeah, like that reads really strong. It stops a lot of their interaction plays of their forwards. So even if they have specials, they have to chain it. So this goes perfect in a witch deck that defends. You pop something for up to 10k now, and they lose all their abilities in the field for 1-drop. I love it with Fins. Great card. So yeah, that's it for summons, monsters, and backups. Hey guys. All right. Anything else I want to talk about? Well, we have pre-release coming up at the end of the week. Here in Bay Area, we usually have events going on Friday through Sunday or Monday. Definitely come check us out. For those in the Bay Area, King Kong usually on Fridays in Dublin, Friday night. Saturday, usually Anime Imports in Pacifica. Saturday, usually afternoon, 1 to 3 p.m. Or, sometime around then. Sundays, I'm not sure if Destin Fantasy Games is still doing it. That's in Alameda. It might be Sunday or Monday. Not sure about that just yet. Have to double check on that. So, and then sometimes we'll have other smaller stores like NorCal TCG or Games of Martinez, Concord, wherever, Berkeley. Some of those Games of stores have their own. We'll have to look into that. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of release events this weekend. Come check it out. And thanks for tuning in to this test stream powered by StreamYard. Maybe we'll do more in the future. Who knows? But this is just an instant reaction. Hope you all have a good night. And thanks for tuning in. See you next time. How do we end this? Okay, click that button.